Hey folks, Pat here from DNS. This Madison area fishing report is current as of March 8th. Well, you can see by the intro screen here, it doesn't look like the normal one. We've had some technical difficulties, we'll call them, with something going on with the Loom website. So I guess we'll just have to limp through it this way. So try to make this quick as I can too. Southern Wisconsin Trout Unlimited, big fan, sat on the board, been involved with the club many years. They have their spring fair fundraiser coming up. It's on April 20th. It's a great event. You know, they got bucket raffles, silent auctions. The food there is worth the price of admission alone, but all proceeds go to benefit Trout Unlimited, and of course they do great work for trout in the area. Like I said, it's not until the 20th of April, but I mentioned it now because their tickets just went online, and you can get deals on early bird packages. So check that out if you're interested. They're a great group, and of course I support anyone supporting them. So what else we got? The DNS Spring Seminar Series lineup has been figured out here. So we do these the 3 Thursdays before the spring opener. So this year we have booked once again Noah Humfeld. Will be speaking on April 18th about getting ready for opening day. David Rowe will be in from the DNR. He's the fisheries team supervisor for most of southern Wisconsin. He'll be discussing the health of the Madison chain and the rationale behind some of the recent regulation changes. That's April 25th. And then on May 2nd, Kyle Zempel from Black Earth Angling Company. He guides on the Wisconsin River and for trout on fly rod, but he's been a guide on the Wisconsin River since 2013. And really, I mean, nobody knows chasing smallmouth on the Wisconsin River like Kyle. So that'll be a very interesting topic, whether or not you fly fish or not. Tons of great information there. So anyway, that's coming up, and I'll make a proper post announcing that stuff in a couple days here. We do have a couple things. Oh yeah, so you know it's spring. Everybody wants to get their stuff ready. Everybody seems to wait until the day before the opener. You know, May 4th this year. If you want, come in and get spooled up. We got line spoolers working great. Kevin repairs rods. Tuck repairs reels. So swing in and get some of that stuff taken care of beforehand, so you're not dealing with the rush and maybe having to wait potentially quite a while to get some of that stuff done. We're getting spring stuff out. This is going to be an end cap for some new stuff. We got these Z-Man Gobiuses. They're pretty cool. Some new stuff from Berkeley. Rapala, Pedo, and Otis are musky baits that aren't exclusive to DNS, but we're going to be one of the few shops in the area that'll be carrying that stuff. So that's very exciting. Posters on the wall here include the Muskie Expo this weekend up in Wausau. Capital City Muskie School is the 23rd, so is that next weekend? Um, and that's up at Wanakee at the high school there. The Spring Fair fundraiser for the Trout Unlimited, Drinking with Scissors, I believe, is next Thursday. And then I got some posters here for the regulation changes that I discussed last week. So, yeah, kind of a lot going on there. But I guess weather-wise, we did have some more seasonable and stable temps this last week, with highs hovering around 50 degrees, rainy today, and a little cool this weekend. But next week, they're forecasting highs in the 60s several days, so some great temps to get out and do some fishing. Generally around the chain, all our lakes are ice-free, but with game fish season closed until May 4th, that combined with the cooler weather we've had this last week, there aren't a lot of folks fishing around town right now. That being said, there's still some good panfish action to be had in pretty much any shallow area around town. Early catch and release bass is still open. And while I haven't heard many reports from the bass anglers yet, that action should be picking up here real soon. More and more folks are getting their boats out of storage and headed to the rivers. And while the levels are kind of low for this time of year, folks are finding some great walleye action with fathead minnows, hair jigs, and walleye flies working well. Of course, this is a great time of year to get out and enjoy the early season catch and release trout fishing that we have to offer. So there really are plenty of options to get out and do some fishing, even with game fish season being closed. I guess we can get into a little bit more details up here on Cherokee. Not a lot going on up there. I know folks were getting some pike up there before the season closed last weekend. But it's been pretty quiet for panfish, but this is all open, and there should be fish in there. And I'm sure there are fish in there. I just haven't heard a lot of reports, so that's always worth a look up there. 113 bridges down here have been Reporting some spotty but good crappie action down here, so some good size fish and numbers. A lot of perch cruising through there right now, but they seem to be on the small side. Haven't heard anything about walleye or anything like that, but of course that's closed now anyway. But the catfish folks that have been going down there haven't quite gotten into them yet, but that should be changing here real quick. They start to move in usually about this time of year. Over on Lake Mendota, I did want to say that last week's report, I mentioned that Warner Bay was almost completely open. Well, that changed on Friday when a bunch of wind shifted and blew a bunch of the ice here off this east shoreline here and up into Warner Bay. So by Friday afternoon, Warner Bay was completely locked up, and it remained that way through the opener. So I apologize if anybody went up there thinking they could launch a boat. I made it out on Mendota myself, fishing with a couple friends on the west end down here. We were casting fly rods for pike, enjoying the last days of the game fish season with open water. So we casted from Spring Harbor all the way down to Pheasant Branch, and only got one small pike in the boat, but I guess that's fishing for you. But the pike really um, should have been in there. I don't know. We had warm water on this end of the lake and cold water down here. I don't know. Maybe we just smelled bad, but anyway, that's fishing for you. Folks are getting out though, and like I said, a lot of your shallow areas around town are going to be holding fish, especially panfish this time of year. So you got your Spring Harbors up here, Pheasant Branch, that little inlet on the Mendota County Park can be good. Um, yeah, Spring Harbor, University Bay, Tenney Park over there warms up pretty quick. So yeah, a lot of opportunities to get out and find some panfish in those areas and early season bass too. Of course, the Tenney Park Lagoon is open for fishing, but the area below the Tenney Park Dam is closed almost all the way down here to East Johnson Street. So that's closed, but Tenney Park Lagoon holds some good panfish at times. Pretty much the same thing though down on Warner or Lake Monona with where the water comes in here from the Yahara can be a good spot early season. Otherwise, Monona Bay, they've been getting some crappies down there. I haven't heard anything out of folks fishing the wall. There have been a few folks fishing off the wall yet. That's a little later in the season after they kind of start to move out here, but they've been getting some crappies along the tracks here, both on the Monona Bay side and the Triangle side, and Monona Bay as a whole just holds good fish really year round. Turtle Bay, Weechawuk, formerly known as Squaw Bay, is also good options for shallow water panfish action this time of year and bass. Otherwise, Winnequa Park, these lagoons, I heard the ice just came off these a couple days ago, so that can hold some good early season ice action up there. Um, Over here to Lattice Park, that launch is very, very low right now. It is open, but it's so low that you can't really even launch a boat in there. So do be careful if you try to launch a boat. Some of these lagoons and over here by you've probably seen online if you go on like Lake Link, you can see like pictures of the docks almost completely on dry ground over here. So it's ridiculous how low the water is. The county claims that it's not lower than it's ever been, but I mean I'm seeing shorelines out there that I've never seen and rocks exposed. So I guess I beg to differ. But if you can launch a boat there, you can get out into upper mud, or you can launch down at Lake Farm and get up into upper mud. Although do be careful, the areas are shallow. I saw a few boats out here though, and I don't know if those folks are getting fish, but this is a great early panfish spot. Um, Same thing down here to Lake Farm can be good. I haven't heard a lot of reports out of Wabisa. Some fish out of the south end down here is a great early spring panfish spot. That's nice, shallow water, warms up pretty quick. Otherwise, Babcock launch is open. I heard the gates are open over there, so you can get in and launch a boat. Do be very, very careful coming through here though, because water is very low, and of course, no fishing below the Babcock locks over here, the dam. As that's another fish refuge over there. And I guess I didn't mention it, but over on Lake Wingra, also great panfish action in there. Size is an issue, and the area below the Wingra Dam over here is also a fish refuge. So down on Kegonsa, also not a lot to report there. Haven't heard about folks getting out with game fish season being closed. Fish Camp County Park, I'm not sure if the docks are in there yet or not, but this northern end of Kegonsa where the Yahar dumps in is a great early ice spot. Otherwise, yeah, I guess that pretty much does it for the Madison report down on Lake Koshkonong. They are ice free there now. I've heard about some fish down at the Indian Fort Dam, some pike and walleye starting to move in there. Otherwise, they are getting fish at Black Hawk Island area here, and then up through Fort Atkinson and up to the Jefferson Dam. Look for deeper pools. Minnow on a jig is super effective, but hair jigs are great, and you can't forget about walleye flies becoming more and more popular every year, and rightfully so. I mean, they are just a great way to catch walleyes. Devil's Lake, I don't know anything about that. Prairie du Sac Dam, all the dams up and down the Wisconsin River are holding fish. You can also find fish in some deeper pockets, but dams are a great place to start. I've heard about some great numbers up here at the Prairie du Sac Dam, up on Lake Wisconsin. Haven't heard much from walleye folks. Sounds like most of the action I've heard about's been up here on the northeast end of the lake, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's been pretty quiet and not. I haven't heard much for size, but I'm sure they're out there. I've heard about some fish coming out of the area around Harmony Grove and the Fingers here. Any of these back shallow bays are going to be holding fish. So I also up here on the grade on the outside, I heard they were getting some perch over there the other day. So yeah, there's some fish to be caught up there. Otherwise, basically the same thing all the way up the river. Look for deeper holes. We'll be holding fish. Otherwise, dams are great for concentrating fish. I've heard about some good action up at the Dells Dam, although size is also a bit of a struggle, but it's a good numbers game. Castle Rock, Pete and Well dams, also great areas. I haven't heard much out of fishing on Pete and Well or Castle Rock itself, but over to the Mississippi River, great walleye action at the dams, and the perch bite sounds like it's great up and down, from all the way from Prairie du Chien all the way up to La Crosse, really. But DeSoto is great, and Genoa, all these areas. So yeah, if you want to get over there and have a chance at some real world-class perch fishery over there, they do. It's amazing the size of the perch come out of there. Otherwise, over here on the East Coast, over to Milwaukee, a lot of coho I'm sorry, brown trout and steelhead in the harbors up and down the East Coast there. I've haven't heard anything about much in the way of salmon lately, but the brown trout and steelhead are great fun to catch in the harbors, but also they move up the rivers this time of year. I heard that this rain we had this last week pushed a few more steelhead up than we had previously. So those are fish that I love catching, and yeah, and it's just going to get better here with a little more rain, a little more warmer temps. Those fish are going to come up and be in a good mood to spawn and eat. So and some browns still hanging out in those tribs. As far as the rest of the report goes, I guess, we got trout fishing, early season trout catch and release. Dane County's a great spot to do get some excellent public access and get out there and do it. Of course, it's catch and release season. That means fish caught need to be immediately released, and only artificial lures can be used. And while the local streams are running low and clear right now, folks are getting fish. I was out, and I've been doing well with a stonefly or a caddis imitation. I'll get into that for our Happy Fly Day feature. But folks running Rapala countdowns or crappie-sized tube jigs slowly through deep pools can be super effective. Otherwise, for fly anglers, running nymphs or streamers like woolly buggers and stoneflies, we'll talk about here in a sec, are a pretty good safe bet. But really, on the nymph side of things, just run a pink squirrel. Save yourself a bunch of time if you're out there to catch fish and aren't too picky about matching the hatch. A pink squirrel gets it done really well this time of year. As far as our Happy Fly Day feature goes, today we're going to be talking about stoneflies. So I've been seeing a few coming off. I've been out a couple times. Stonefly nymphs like this prince nymph, or this is a black hare's ear nymph that both are great stonefly imitations or just kind of nymphy imitations in general. Can be really great this time of year. I've been out. I'm a stubborn dry fly fisherman, and using something similar to this, like a dark colored caddis, can imitate those stoneflies very well. And I've been getting a few fish on top, so the fish are looking up. Although I haven't seen any rising really. So anyway, I guess that pretty much does it for the report. Feel free to post your comments and catches below. Let us know what you're seeing out there. Otherwise, yeah, stay tuned for more specials and spring stuff coming out. Feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225 if you have any other questions or want us to expand on anything. Otherwise, do appreciate you tuning in. Wish you luck out there, and we will talk to you next week.